Napper, every once in a while as a goalie, you're going to have a bad night.
Yep.
I feel like what I've learned from goalies, though, is the key is how to not turn one bad night into two bad nights. How to bounce back and rebound from the bad night. I think it's the same for like a pitcher in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you, what was the key? What do you do when you have one of those bad nights? What's the key to rebounding to have a good night the following night, which is what you were able to do?
Yeah, honestly for me, it's like whether win or lose. I kind of developed a midnight rule for myself through juniors that, if I win, I feel really good about myself. Midnight hits, okay, got another game the next night, and now we got to reset to repeat that performance. Obviously, Friday night, I wasn't good enough. Bottom line, I wasn't good enough. And so, again, that midnight rule hit. And I had a tough time falling asleep Friday night, I'll be completely honest with you. But, I knew Saturday was going to be a different story. And, throughout my career, even, dating back to 15, 16 years old, when you play 60, 70 games in a AAA season, you're bound to have bad nights. And I've always been able to rebound really well, and not just in hockey, but other sports that I've played too. So, honestly, just being able to flush it. And I didn't even touch that Friday night video yet. I mean, I'm sure I'll watch it with Coach at some point, but I didn't even touch the video. I just knew that wasn't me. That's not what my game is. It's not what I'm about. I just had to flush it, and Saturday night was going to be a different challenge. So just being able to do that, and at the end of the day, my job is to either steal a game for our team or give ourselves a chance to win. So that's what I tried to do Saturday, and luckily the guys, as a team, we responded really well. So it was good to see.
So you don't do anything differently. It's the same thing. Either if you had a great game on Friday, it would have been pushing it at midnight and getting ready for the next game.
Yeah, same exact thing. I don't change anything. I think once you start to change things and you start to get in your head, it's like, you know what, maybe I'm going to change the way I tape my stick or change what warm-ups I'm doing. And then you have so many other different variables in it when, I'm going back on the ice at 6 o'clock game and doing the same exact thing. And so I don't see the point in why would I change something if my job and the game is still the same, So that's just how I view it. I know other people are different, but it's kind of how I go about it.
Always enough for superstitions. You got any?
Yeah, but I don't think we have the time to go through those. No, I've gotten better. Honestly, I've gotten better over the years about not being too crazy. But at the end of the day, I'm still a goalie. So yeah, there's some that I stick with. But
can you share at least one?
Well, I guess one, I do everything at the same time before a game. So before puck drop. So whether it's an 8 o'clock game or a 6 o'clock game, I foam route at the same time and do my bands at the same time. I, start drinking coffee at the same time and that kind of stuff. So. And always tape my stick in the same spot. I mean, depending on what rink we're at, but always by the Zamboni doors at whatever rink we're at.
For you, Saturday, maybe you don't even ever think about this, but I'm sitting up top and you make those couple saves in the first minute or whatever it was. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Is there a moment where you're like, I got this tonight?
I think in any game, the first couple saves of the game are really important. And when you make a big save early, I think that's not only comforting for yourself, but for your team as well, especially like we were talking, Friday I didn't play well enough. And so Saturday to be able to make a couple of good saves early on, not only gives me confidence, what, I'm feeling way better tonight, this is going to be our night, start to build some confidence, but just for the bench to see too, we knew Napper, that's not you last night, but it's good to see that you're back on your game tonight. And so, yeah, I think for me and for the bench, it's really important to make those first couple saves early and making them under control, just to, kind of calm the game down and slow it down a little bit.
How were you guys able to reset? Max scored late in the first, but then they get one 35 seconds later or whatever just to tie it up. Just a rebound off a net drive.
Yeah.
The big piece. That intermission, what were you guys able to do to reset? It felt like from the start of the second, you guys were back on your game.
Yeah, well, we knew, we can't give up a goal with 25 seconds left like that. And we always talk about shift after goals, and the first couple minutes after a goal are really important for or against. And especially when you score one after the night we had Friday. For some teams it might be deflating. We went into that locker room, and we knew that goal with 25 seconds left wasn't good enough. We knew that wasn't acceptable, but we were still in a really good spot, obviously a much better spot than we were in the night before. And I think just over, through this second half here so far, we've built so much confidence and trust in each other. And, everybody in that locker room just believes in the guy next to him. And everybody just did their job. So that's kind of what we talked about. You know what? Stick with this game. There's going to be ebbs and flows. Like, game, you can't predict a game. But we just had to stick to what we talked about in video earlier that day, stick to our principles, stick to what works. And, just like my preparation for the team, like you can't change the game. So, just everybody just do their job and came out in the second period swinging, and it was a good night for us.
Third period, the first 10-ish minutes, it didn't feel like you had a whole lot to do.
No.
How much fun does that to be a little bored once in a while? We had the puck down there a lot.
Yeah, fun, yes. But almost as a goalie, I'd rather get peppered than stand there for a while and get cold, and because it's hard. I mean, I'm sure you guys watch the games, and you see a goalie that kind of gets in a rhythm and gets a bunch of shots and feel good about themselves, and you go from that maybe a little bit in the second period that I had, and then in the third period, it kind of at the start, you're kind of just sitting there. But I mean, obviously, it's a great problem to have. It means we're doing all the right things offensively and defensively. So for me personally, it's great. I don't have to really do anything, but mentally, it's hard to stay in those games for sure.
You find yourself, I think I had on this too at some point. You find yourself in those situations like the puck gets dumped down, maybe being a little more aggressive about going up to play the puck just to get a touch.
Yeah, for sure. Just to try to do something to stay in the game. Obviously, I have my own personal things that might look a little goofy that help me stay in the game a little bit. But yeah, for sure. I think Guy and I kind of share that is we like to play the puck a little bit, and when you're not getting a lot of action, you want to get those touches, whether it's making a pass or going out of your net to stop it and add a shot to your save percentage or something just to get in the game. So yeah, that's something I do for sure.
You brought it up. I wanted to ask you about it. I've seen a couple of fan videos of these kind of, I want to call them weird because nothing a goalie does anymore to me is weird after all these years. But your mannerisms, the things that you'll do between plays and things like that, have you always been that way?
I wouldn't say always. I think it's kind of been developed through junior hockey a little bit. Through juniors, I kind of had to find what works for me, and obviously, whatever I do now is kind of the thing that I found that works best. I think it's more so. It's not really just like, okay, if I don't do this, then I'm screwed. Like, it's not one of those things. It's just kind of a, just like we talked about, whether it's getting shots or doing something goofy looking like that, like you said, like just to stay in the game, have some sort of rhythm. And yeah, I think it's more so just to stay in the game, but it's something on like this specific thing I started doing last year, and it started working for me. So figured I'd just stay with what works.
You talked about that midnight flush roll. Where did you get that from? And I know you said too you had that when you were in juniors, but did that start in juniors? Did you hear that from another goalie?
No, so that actually started. I think either it was my 12 or 13U baseball coach, which is crazy to think about that. But that's something that we talked about, and it was more so like in baseball, midnight rule. Don't, like, let's say I was batting seventh, but I think I should be batting third because I have a better hitting percentage than this guy, whatever. That was kind of his way of it, but I kind of took it differently and applied it to hockey right away. I was like, you know what, like, what's the point in stirring on something the next day if it's already in the past, and I can't do anything about that, but I've got something more important to focus on for the next day. So, that's where it all started. That's kind of where I heard the idea, took my own little spin on it, and that's something I've been able to carry with me, obviously, today, and I'll do so moving forward.
Something we've talked a lot about is the way that a team plays in front of their goalie when they have confidence. Of course, your team can talk about whoever's in net, we have confidence, and whatever. But to truly show that and display that, starting last weekend at home at AMSO before you guys went this past weekend to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about your teammates? Like, they're going to play well in front of you because they have genuine confidence in you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I talked about is trusting the guy next to you, and obviously goaltending, just like pitcher in baseball or a quarterback in football, like it's obviously a very pivotal position in the game. But I think overall is we all honestly just trust in each other, and then if a guy's in the lineup one night and then he's out of the lineup the next night, it doesn't mean that he's any less important than the guy that got plugged in for him. So back to your question, obviously it's nice to know that we're playing well as a team. That gives me confidence too going into the games. Like, I'm not gonna have to make all these crazy saves and make 50 saves a game just to have a chance to win. I can truly just be Clayton. I can just play goalie. As a goalie personally, that's a huge comforting factor, knowing that I just got to go out there and play my best, and trusting that they're going to do their best too, and they have every single game this year.
What's your thoughts on Denver, and what kind of challenges do the offense kind of present to you in that?
Yeah, Denver's obviously a very high-flying offense. They got a couple guys on the back end that definitely contribute offensively. We all know who those guys are. Got a really good goaltender, so we're going to have to get to him early and often for sure Friday. But yeah, in the offensive zone, they move the puck really well. They've got a lot of skilled forwards and defensemen that'll jump down lower in the zone. So we're just going to have to make sure we all have our guys and communicate through that, especially in our own defensive zone. And when we get chances offensively, we're going to have to find a way to capitalize on a really good goaltender.
You guys almost get more excited playing these ranked teams because you inevitably are the underdog, and now you get to have defending national champs there.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily look at it as like underdog or whatever. We just look at it as an opportunity to go prove ourselves. And obviously through this first half, or through the first half of the season before Christmas, everybody talks about, we weren't up to par, we weren't where we needed to be, but I think we're kind of starting to catch our stride a little bit. And what we've shown so far isn't even what the team we're going to be by the end of the year. And so I think, yeah, like you said, I mean, these ranked opponents, defending national champions, all these labels that all these teams have, for us, it's just about going out there and competing. And we don't look about, we have to go win this game, we have to win this game. It's, you have to win one shift at a time, win one period at a time, make one save at a time. And if we control our process, the outcome is going to take care of itself.
I know Coach talks a lot about being the better team. What is it going to take? What part of your better has to happen in order to keep Denver out of that?
Yeah, I think, honestly, we've got to really control our blue lines and control turnovers. Obviously, in our league, special teams always seems to, whoever wins the special teams battles usually ends up winning the game. And I think in our league, there's a lot of penalties for sure that are called. So obviously, for the power play, we're going to have to capitalize and get our chances. And if we do take a penalty, making sure it's a hard penalty, not a, stop moving our feet, reaching penalty. So if we take penalty, it's bound to happen, but we're going to have to find a way to kill them off. And everybody sacrifice a little bit of their body to make sure that happens, so we can kill that off transition and go score in the O-zone.
What was your batting average back in the day? Did you actually bat seventh?
No, I did not bat seventh. I was kind of that 3, 4, 5 kind of guy. Never crazy speed, but I could hit the ball a little bit. Batting average, I don't even think they kept stats back then. So, yeah, I think that's probably something I kept on my school iPad. I walked into school the next day and made sure I wrote that down.
You stopped playing in high school?
So I played my freshman year of high school. And actually, what's funny is I was kind of choosing between whether I wanted to pursue baseball or pursue hockey. And obviously, I chose hockey. But, so I played my freshman year, and then I was going to play sophomore year. And then the whole COVID ordeal happened, and then junior year I moved away and started this whole junior hockey thing before I came here. So it's cut short a little bit, but yeah, I tell everybody I love baseball a lot.
Softball team still a thing, or is that good?
Oh, the softball team?
Have you ever been recruited for that? Or?
It was mentioned. I wouldn't say it was recruited, but
An off-season pursuit.
yeah, it's something I'll train this summer a little bit for, though, just to make sure I'm in the running for it.
There are a few guys who took it a little too seriously.
Yeah, we've all heard stories.
How come you didn't ask Krause whether the injury situation? Because Bruce had to do your work for you.
Bruce and I both were like, we didn't ask Krause the injury report.
I threw myself on that.
We were both like, why didn't we ask him? We got thrown off. I asked him about AHL, but I didn't ask him for the injury report.
Unreal.
Losing it.
Keeping tabs on you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Someone's got to keep me on my toes. Scott, what is the injury report? Loney and Guy on.
Guy on skating. I don't know. He's probably closer to day. Loney is skating. He's probable. We'll see how today and tomorrow go. Bence is probably he's closer, but I would say he's probably questionable.
As frustrating as Friday was at CC, how encouraging was it to see this team bounce back from the goal on out on Saturday to get that win? I thought the guys played really well on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, a 7-2 game, it didn't feel like it, right? I thought we were the better team in the first period. We come out of it down 2-0 on Friday, and they get 3 kind of crappy goals, right? And next thing you know, it's 5-0, and, you know, when games are like that, you're just trying to finish them, right? Yeah, we had no choice to come back. And you know what? CC probably played their best hockey in the first period on Saturday. Thought they were really good. They put us on our heels. They were attacking. Napper had to come up with some big saves and keep us in it. It kind of reminded me of the Western Michigan game on Saturday where Adam played great for us and kept us in the game, and we got a couple calls go our way. And I thought we got better and closed out, had a good third period, and got a much-needed win.
Napper specifically bouncing back on Saturday, we were just talking to him. Goalies are going to have bad games, but I feel like talked over the years. The key is bouncing back from those bad
Well, I think it's like any player, right? If you don't have a good game, you know, you're the only one that can change it. You can come back and make amends for it when you get another opportunity. He did that. I had no question. I got him out of there. We should have probably got him out of there 3-0, but he was the guy that was going to start on Saturday, and good for him for competing and really being a big part of our win on Saturday.
Saturday, what were you guys able to do? You get a couple of goals in the second period, but it felt like even before that you were starting to get on your toes. Was there a moment where you felt like you're starting to get this team going north a little bit more and kind of attacking them? Because you were, like you said, you played great.
I thought getting out of the first period, right? Because I thought they won every race, they won every battle, they were getting pucks there. Like I said, Napper had to make a couple huge saves for us. We were a step behind. Getting out of that period and where the game was at, I think, was really important. And talked a little bit about that after the period and get 40 minutes. And like I said, we got a couple calls go our way, a couple challenges, which I thought the Betchen goal maybe changed the game a little bit. I thought they looked a little frustrated as the game went on, but that happens when you kind of dominate a team in the first period and don't get maybe the results you want. But I thought they got, a little bit more agitated as the game went on. I thought our guys kept their composure for the most part, which was really important. So I was proud of our guys for that.
They certainly had their push in the last 5 minutes and got the goalie out and all that, like a lot of teams will do when they're behind. But the first 10, 12 minutes of the third period, they had basically nothing going. You guys were, again, on your toes. You were the puck in their zone, a lot of cycling. And you maybe not getting a ton of great scoring chances, but you had the possession and all that.
Well, I think
How pleased were you to see that in the hockey game?
Yeah, but we extended the lead, get a couple goal lead going into the third period, right? So maybe took a little steam out of them, and we didn't have to play a fancy period. Just make sure we're taking care of pucks and doing what we need to do, and I thought our guys did that.
What do you thought of Aaron Pionk and what he's been able to do helping this much?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, he's been great. You know, he's had the great start with like 7 points in first 3 or 4 games, and you know, I think defensively he still can be better. But I like since coming out of Christmas, I think he's had some better games. I thought the first half was a little up and down. I don't look at points. You guys all look at points. You can look at, hey, he's our leading scorer, him and Dom. But I look at the overall play and what he needs to get better at. And I think he's had some better moments here in the second half, which is important for our team because he's a big part of it. So I don't care about the points. I don't measure a player's performance off points. Like maybe Prunovich, yeah, you know, because that was the kind of player he was, right? He's an offensive catalyst from back there. I mean, Aaron's got good offensive ability. He's getting rewarded, you know, the power plays and stuff. And but yeah, I mean, he's gotten better, but we need more. We need more out of a lot of guys still, and he's one of those guys.
Are you still seeing him grow and develop as a defenseman, a position doesn't have the experience?
Yeah, we need more consistency, right? I think I can say that about a lot of players. I think that's the word you hear a lot, but it's so true, right? Just how you play and be good at what you're good at, and you know, don't try and do too much, or you know, make sure you're number one as a defenseman, defending first, moving pucks second. And the offense is the third part of that. He gets to play on a power play, so he's going to get more opportunities offensively, but it's the defensive part. And I thought as a group versus the St. Cloud weekend, we weren't as good as a group. This isn't just Aaron, this is as a group. And we need to be better there. And again, it's not just the defenseman, it's just 5 guys. And I thought defensively we got away from some things that are going to be a problem if we don't correct them moving forward, especially this weekend. But just in the past Denver, our compete level needs to be higher. We need to be way more engaged in checks. We need better D zone, right? We need better decisions. We need higher compete. We need to take care of our net area a lot better. So that's a big focus.
You talk about not measuring points. So are players that first come to mind that you think, wow, there's some big growth there when I measure growth?
Well, again, you have offensive players, right? You have forwards that you go, yeah, we want them to score. Zam, Max, Shogby, you know, those guys, they're offensive players. That's what they've been. So, yeah, in a sense, you're going, yeah, you want them to score, but it's not just that. You want them to be a well-rounded player. You want them to play good on both ends of the rink. You want them to do what they're best at. Again, like, when I mentioned Scott Prunovich came in here, I knew what he was, and I knew that he was going to be one of our top scorers as a defenseman because he plays like a forward, right? We don't have a Scott Prunovich, you know, and guys are going to get opportunities on the power play. Guys are going to produce on the power play. But when you look at it, it's for each position, you know, consistency to how they play. Are they doing what we want them to do? Are they playing to their abilities, right? So you measure. Are they growing in some areas? You know, if we're working on something with somebody, are they getting better at it? You know, that's all part of the development process. You know, and it's not just points, and it's not just that. It's the mental side of it too. Are they maturing mentally? Are they understanding situations? You know, are they turning one mistake into 2 or 3, or are they turning one mistake into no mistakes after that? So it's all the process of development. And like I said, there's some guys, I think some guys are growing. Some guys have been a little stagnant. It's our job as coaches to push them out of that comfort zone and try and push them to the highest level they possibly can. But consistency is such a big thing, and I know you hear it a lot. I said that earlier, but you know, if you're just consistently doing the things that you should, so as a defenseman, just sometimes maybe not being noticed, right? Just playing your game, you know. Doesn't have to be flashy, you know, you're just doing your job. You know, you're taking care of your end, you're moving pucks at the right time, you know, all those little things that probably are, maybe don't get noticed, but it's important.
Ask Clayton what was going to be something that was going to differentiate themselves this weekend as you guys have kind of found your stride a little bit here in these last handful of games, and just of course winning special teams battle. What are some other small battles that you guys know you're going to have to overcome this Denver team?
Well, they're a great transition team, number one, right? They're a team that plays 5 guys connected in all 3 zones, right? Offensively, you know, off the rush. Defensively, they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. They always think Denver is a really high-powered offense, but they're good defensively too, because they don't want to play there because they want to play the other way, right? So they don't give you a lot of room. You can get to them at times, just like any team, but yes, their power plays are always good. Their penalty kill is one of the top. They're very aggressive up the rink, so you got to handle pressure, especially up the rink. So your entries into the zone are going to be challenged. So hopefully we can win faceoffs and not have to go 200 feet. Staying out of the box again. You know, our penalty kill's been okay. At times I think, you know, we've had some timely kills, but I think, you know, we've had some different guys in there too, and Grossi does a great job with it. And again, like Friday, Napper, you know, or Saturday, Napper was good. You know, goaltender's your best penalty killer, but just playing discipline and taking, again, against this team, they're a great puck pressure team, so you gotta make sure pucks are getting out over the blue line and in at their zone and not creating easy transition for them or extending plays in your zone. So probably the last part is faceoffs. We haven't been a great faceoff team, you know. They run a lot of faceoff plays because they win draws. So, you know, being better in the faceoff circles and starting with possession or at least 50-50 puck battles will be important.
Specific to Plan Shagabe, we talked about how smart they are, those players, all 3 of them, and they're good sticks and all that. I didn't think they had the greatest night Friday. What did you see that allowed them to be better like they were on Saturday?
Just good players. Again, I don't know what everyone's expectations of them are. They're good players. They're gonna have games where they're not as effective. Maybe they're getting chances and not scoring. Like, they're not going to probably score every goal for us every game if that's what everybody expects. I mean, they're still freshmen and they're good players and they learn and they find ways. And yeah, it was just like our team. We needed to find somebody. Everyone had to be better. So, but I don't know what expectations everybody has for them. I mean, maybe it's a little too much, you know? But they like it. They like pressure situations.
It seems like they handle
They can challenge, yeah.
attention pretty well.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just they're good players. And like I said, it's good players find a way. They might be quiet for 2 periods, but they find a way to score a goal or make a play to win a game for you or score, you know, put you in a position to win a game. And again, they're not going to go out there and dominate every shift. You know, they can, and they have, but they're not going to. It's just nobody's going to in hockey. You're going to have nights where you're a little bit off or teams defend you well. Bounces aren't going your way. It's the way it goes. So hopefully, I don't know what people's expectations of them are, because I think that's, just because they have an off night, it's not the end of the world. Like, oh my God.
A couple weeks ago, pregame coach, you mentioned that that reminds you a little bit of Hunter Shep.
Just compete level, in practice. Finding ways to stop pucks. I think it carries over in the game. He's not a very outspoken person. As we know, Shep was pretty quiet and soft-spoken, unless you're talking about hunting or fishing. But Clayton's opening up. I think he's had kind of that same thing. We're a little bit quieter, but he works. He competes. And I think you see it in some of the saves he's made, and But he does that in practice too, so it's not a shock that it carries over into a game.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.